All set for the upcoming Twilight? The highly anticipated Italian bestseller The Tearsmith by Erin Doom has made its way to the United States to challenge the well-known series. Following Nica and Rigel, two orphans at the grave who are adopted by the same family, is a spine-tingling romance story. While Rigel is frequently likened to the erratic nature of a wolf, Nica is as pure and naive as a harmless butterfly. Nica had no idea that Rigel has loved her unconditionally since the day she entered the orphanage when she was 5 years old. Nica is afraid of Rigel's aggressiveness, yet she can't help but be drawn to his secret fragility. A friendship between the two develops, hampered only by the fact that they are going to be siblings. Get the best of people, from celebrity news to gripping human interest stories, sent straight to your inbox by subscribing to their free daily newsletter. The Tearsmith, an Italian film with English subtitles, has been translated into a movie that is currently available on Netflix. This has allowed the picture to reach a wider audience seeking their next love fix. Everything you need to know about how the book and its cinematic adaptation differ is provided here. For those who haven't yet experienced the enchantment of either version, there are a few minor spoilers ahead. Throughout the book, Nica and Rigel frequently discuss their complex past with Margaret Stoker, the matron they knew as children. The matron severely mistreated Nica, but only Rigel was spared from her abuse because he was her favorite child. This made Rigel feel even more alone and ashamed. The matron and Nica had the similar relationship in the movie, although Margaret is still the matron when Nica and Rigel are adopted, in contrast to the book when Mrs. Fridge took her position when Nica was 12. A physical relationship between Nica and Rigel doesn't begin until around halfway through the 550-page book, following a great deal of tension and build-up. But, because the film lasts for an hour and 45 minutes, the connection progresses far more quickly on screen. Throughout the book, Rigel suffers from terrible fevers and headaches. Early on, he passes out from a fever, leaving Nica to take care of him while their adoptive parents are away. In the film, Nica and Rigel share the same scene, but it's also their first physical encounter. In the novel, Rigel is unconscious and Nica just gets to witness his fragility for the first time. Rigel, who doesn't trust his adversary and, let's be honest, is jealous, and Lionel, who has a romantic interest in the naive Nica, are at odds. The rivalry between Rigel and Lionel reaches its climax in the book's last scene, which features a fierce brawl. But in the movie, everything comes to a head at the school dance, which isn't what happens in the book at all. Rather, Nica witnesses a similar chaotic event at Lionel's party, where an inebriated Lionel acts hostilely against her. At the dancing, Rigel controls a drunken Nica while Lionel remains sober. This scenario is immediately followed by a near-fatal occurrence that takes place at the conclusion of the novel, right after Nica and Rigel have their first sexual encounter, which is also not when it happens in the book. Asia has a supporting role in the novel, but she makes a significant impact because Nica confronts her and demonstrates that Asia is not there to take the place of her adoptive parents' late son, Alan, but rather to provide them fresh happiness. Asia, who was in love with Alan before he passed away, finds it difficult to accept her and treats her harshly. Asia has the same role in the movie adaptation, although she is underdeveloped and only appears in 2 scenes, the first, in which she responds negatively to Nica's presence, and the second, in which she comes to terms with Nica. Both her story as a law student and Adeline's love story are left out of the movie, as is her friendship with Adeline. The story concludes with Nica testifying against Margaret. Don't worry, we won't reveal how that testimony turns out, but it does so in a somewhat different and shorter order than in the novel. In the book, Nica spends months lying by a comatose Rigel's side, trying to wake him up with stories. How does this gloomy fairy tale conclude? To discover out, you'll simply have to read and watch.